What's up YouTube, Craig here, and we are going to do a clean install today on a Hackintosh of MacOS Sierra. So first thing we're going to need to do, now I'm going to provide some tools. I'm going to share a file out for my Dropbox, so you'll have a bunch of tools and there'll be a document in there that you're looking at right now with all this stuff in here, instructions, but obviously follow along with the video, you'll be good to go. But what you're going to need first is you're going to need to create an account on Tony Mac. Go ahead and click this link and it will take you there. You make an account and you'll be able to download stuff off of that. You'll need a working Mac with the Sierra downloader installed from the App Store. You'll need a flash drive, 16 gigabytes or higher. I had trouble with the 8 gig. That used to be like the way to go, but I'd say just go with 16 gig or higher. USB 2.0 port. I've heard that this isn't really relevant anymore, but we'll just put that for now. A SATA to USB connection to format the hard drive. So if you have that connection, we may be able to do it without connecting the SATA drive to the Mac with a USB, but we'll see how that goes. We're going to try it first, just leaving the hard drive in there and seeing if we can format it when we boot up. You'll need UniBeast, Clover Configurator, MultiBeast, Xcode, and EasyKext. I'll provide EasyKext, but Xcode's in the App Store. You'll need that for post installation. MultiBeast is in Tony Mac. That'll be right here. That's also for post installation. But UniBeast you'll need right now. And then Clover Configurator is for post installation as well. So right now you'll need UniBeast. Okay, with macOS Sierra downloaded and in your application folder, it needs to be in your application folder in order for this to work. You're going to go ahead and put your USB in, and we're going to format that USB. We're going to name it USB, but we're going to I'm going to go through this process first instead of just clicking on this, hit erase. You might have a different name right there, but I'll go ahead and click on this, hit erase, name it USB, all caps. Okay. And again, that was macOS Extended Journaled and GUID partition map if you had any questions. Okay, it is now formatted, so it's up here, and as you can see there's nothing in it, so it's formatted and ready to go. Now you're going to go ahead and open UniBeast, and UniBeast is in here, so you're going to open UniBeast. Now this is the brand new UniBeast. It now has support for macOS Sierra, so they just released it I think today. It's October 2nd here in Korea, but October 1st in the States, so I think that's when they released it. But anyway, so continue, agree. And I want to install it on my USB thumb drive, my 16 gig. And I want Sierra, yes, happy Sierra. UEFI boot mode, next. I'm not going to check any of this because I'm going to inject Nvidia first. Okay, but that's only to get me to the screen. But I'm going to go ahead and check that once we boot up. That way I don't have to reconfigure this to not inject Nvidia, because we just wanted to inject Nvidia once so we can get to our screen and install the web drivers. And so this is what we want. Then we're going to continue. You're going to type in your administrator password, hit enter, and it's going to do its thing. So it'll take a minute. Good thing I got a USB 3.0 drive. It'll take less, but it's going to build your bootable USB. Okay, UniBeast is now done. As you can see, it built my USB. I did not drag this or drop this in there, and you cannot either. It has to go through the building phase, so it makes it bootable. It'll pop up with a window like this, and you'll see some files while it's still building it. Please do not mess with those files or do anything. Just exit the window out and wait for UniBeast to say it's done. And that's it. So you have it built, and then we're going to go ahead and open the tools I provide, and you're gonna go to UniBeast Clover and unzip it. Okay, and drag it over here. And now that we have the UniBeast Clover folder right here, we're going to, let me make sure, okay, we got it. So we got the UniBeast Clover folder. I'm going to back out so I can see we're in it. And now we're going to open EFI. Okay, this should be open. It should be left open. And if it closed somehow, you're going to have to download Clover Configurator to mount it, or something to mount that EFI partition. But right off the bat, UniBeast is going to mount it. So please don't eject it. So you're going to open this, and then right here, you're going to see Clover. You're going to open that, and then you're going to highlight everything in the UniBeast Clover, and you're going to drag it in there, and then I'm going to hit apply to all and replace. Alright, exit out. And really what this is it's got some pre-built kex in there, and it's going to inject it, so we're going to be rocking and rolling a lot easier than we would if we were to do it all with MultiBeast or EasyKext. So go ahead and exit out of that, and so now we're good to go. We can go ahead and boot up and install Hackintosh, or macOS Sierra Hackintosh. Okay, real quick, I forgot to mention the USB. I'm going to open that, and we're going to drag and drop this tool, the tools I provided. Also, here, let me get this out of there. I downloaded the alternate web drivers. You can find that by going on the Tony Mac website and looking up here. We'll go ahead and browse to it real quick. Tony Mac website, click on this, go down to the alternate web drivers right here, and then click, oh, here you go, right here. And I would put this link in the description, but you can find it on the Tony Mac website. The thing is see, it's for 10.12.0, so if 12.1 comes out, you'll want that. So just go to the Tony Mac website for it. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this in this USB right here. That way I'll have my tools when I boot up ready to go. Okay, so as you can see, this drive is hooked up, and it's actually got Windows installed on it, but I'm going to try to format it. We're going to see if it works using the utilities when we boot up. Now, I have USB keyboards, but for some reason my F's don't work in my BIOS, so I have to get the wired one out. So let's go ahead and boot up, and then I'm going to be hitting delete, which is what my BIOS is set up to go ahead and take. So delete, that's how to get to my BIOS menu. Okay, so like I said, my USB keyboards don't work, so I have to have a cabled USB one because my F buttons don't work. I don't know why, but anyway, so I got my keyboard plugged in. I'm going to hit F7 right there for optimized default, so F7, and hit enter. Okay, and we're going to make some changes here. We're going to go over to peripherals, and then this Super I/O configuration. You can see, we're going to hit enter, and we're going to disable that. Okay, and then we're going to go up to this HCI handoff, and we're going to enable that. Lastly, we're going to go over to the chipset, and this is on my Gigabyte board. Yours may be different if you got an Asus or something. This IOAPIC entries, we're going to disable that. Okay, and that's the last thing we need to do. So now I'm going to save and exit, and then we're going to hold F12 to boot from the thumb drive. Alright, so I'm hitting F12 for the boot menu, and let's hope this thumb drive pops up. I think that whole USB 2.0 thing may have relevance because it was not appearing. and there it is. Now it does appear. So there it is. The flash drive wasn't there before. It is there now that I moved. Okay, so good news, we got it all booted up. I got a lot of drives hooked up to my computer right now, but we're worried about this right here where it says boot Mac from USB, if you can see it, and it says external on the icon. So we're going to go ahead and do that, but before we do, we're going to go into the options right there, if you can see it, and then for boot argument, it already has NV_disable equals 1, which is good, and then the Dart equals 0 and the -V. Okay, so that stuff's good. We're gonna take it all out later, but for now it does what we need to do. Graphic injector, we're going to go ahead and inject Nvidia just this one time and hit return. Okay, and then we're also gonna hit return. And then now we can do our thing and boot up from it. So go ahead and go to the external, boot from Mac, USB, and hit enter. Let's see what happens. This is where it could get tricky, because I know we'll get to the screen, but I don't know if we'll be able to format the drive at that screen. If we're not able to, then we need to go ahead and boot up my Hackintosh that I already have installed on the Samsung drive, and then we'll go ahead and hook the drive that we want the Sierra installed to a USB, SATA to USB, and then we'll go ahead and format it that way. So let's see what we can do. So I'm going to go up to utilities right now. That's up there. Try to be steady with this. Utilities. And then disk utility right there. And lucky for us, we have it all right there on the left side. So you guys should be good to go too. Right here, this 120 gigabyte, we're ready to go ahead and erase that and turn it into a Hackintosh. So it's very important that you click on the top part of the drive, the actual one with the top part with the arrow. It's going to be right there next to it. If you were to click on this is its partition, and we don't want to do that. Okay, so just follow what I'm doing. So you're going to go ahead and click erase after you've clicked on that, and then we're going to name it Mac OS. Oops. Okay, so macOS extended journaled, and GUID partition map. So we're gonna click erase, and we are successful, man. This is awesome. Before I had to hook it up via USB, SATA to USB, and it wasn't fun. Well, knock on wood. Okay, we're good. So we're good to go. Let's go ahead and exit out of that, and it brings us to the install screen. We hit continue. Continue, agree, and then we're going to install it on Mac OS. Continue. Alright, 12 minutes remaining. It's on USB 2.0, so it's going to take some time. Okay, once the installation is done, you're going to need to still have the USB in because you need to use the USBs. Basically EFI partition to boot. Your Mac is not quite ready to start booting Mac Hackintosh yet, so do not take your USB out thinking you're done. Leave it in so it boots up to the Clover screen, and then go ahead and go to options, down to graphics injector, and make sure inject Nvidia's checked. I just checked that, and then we're going to return, and then we still need NV_disable equals 1 in there. So make sure these boot arguments are in there. -V, space, Dart equals 0, space, NV_disable equals 1. Make sure those are in there. We're not going to need them once we install the web drivers and all that stuff, but for right now, since it's the beginning, we need them. So after that, you're going to go ahead and hit return, and then you can boot from your hard drive. So boot from Mac OS. and it'll bring you to the got a brand new Mac screen. As you can see, we got Mac, and it's loading up, and there you go. You got a brand new Mac on your hands, just like that. So it looks like you went to the store, bought yourself a new Mac, and go ahead and get started. So I'm going to put in all my information and then meet you on the welcome screen, or the home screen. Okay, so here we go. We're at the home screen here, and everything looks good. Now, just to let you know, your graphics are going to look crappy because NV_disable=1 is just telling me, hey, inject some kind of a resolution so I can get to my screen, install the web drivers, get everything rocking and rolling, and reboot and be a normal Hackintosh. So what I want you to do is go to your application folder. So go ahead and you're going to click Finder down here, and then it'll pop up, and then your applications folder. And then the tools I provided, I added to it. I put MultiBeast and Clover Configurator in there, along with the web drivers as well. So you see that as well. But right now I'm just going to hit Command and then drag these two over into your applications folder. So that's Clover Configurator and MultiBeast into your applications folder. And we need to go ahead and run MultiBeast and then install the web drivers right now. So I'm going to open Clover Configurator so you can see what's going on right now. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is eject the USB. I'm going to drag this to the desktop. Those are my tools, and then I'm going to eject the USB so you can see what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to open Clover Configurator right now so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to mount the EFI partition, because right now on the hard drive that we just installed the Hackintosh on, it has a blank EFI partition, and we need to fill it with stuff so we can start telling the computer to boot up Mac. So I'm going to mount the EFI partition and put my combination in, and then you click Open Partition, and right there, right off the bat, we can see that it's empty. So if we were to try to boot up this hard drive right now, wouldn't really work. So have this EFI partition open, and I'm gonna go to Preferences and Finder. Put up hard disk so you can see it. I think it should be up there anyway. Hold on. Okay, it's not showing it, but we'll put up hard disks so you can see it. So you see there's two partitions. There's MacOS and then there's EFI. Your EFI is blank right now. We need to fill it with stuff. So what we're going to do is open MultiBeast, okay? And we're going to go ahead and go to Quick Start, UEFI boot mode, drivers. Okay, for me, for audio, I am going to select, for me, Voodoo HDA version 2.8.6, because this enables my HDMI to my Samsung TV to work, but I'm also going to select 100 series audio. Okay, and that's all I do for drivers. If you start messing around with these, you could, and you don't know what you're doing, you can get a kernel panic attack, and it'll mess your system up. So when you do get everything rocking and rolling, make sure you back up, do a time machine backup of your system. So bootloaders is already good to go into UEFI boot mode. And then this is the most important part right here. So we don't want to hit inject Nvidia anymore because we're good with that. But system definitions is the most important thing. They say you want to click something that's closest to your system. However, for me, the closest to my system, the 6700K, is actually the iMac 17.1. However, the 14.2 has been working for me pretty good. It's an older iMac, so I don't think it has handoff and continuity and all that stuff. But the thing is it works, and that's all I care about. So I have the 14.2 checked because I know it works. Maybe I'll mess with the system definitions later to see if I can get 17.1 to work. But the thing is is when you do change your system definitions, it changes your config file. So once, say you do the FaceTime iMessage fix and all that other stuff, once you run this again, you'll need to do that fix again, which isn't a big deal as long as you save your information and know what to put in all the blocks. So now I'm going to hit build and then make sure it goes to your hard drive, macOS. Build, and then I'm going to hit agree. I'm going to put in my password. Okay, so it has succeeded. Now we're going to go ahead and open this EFI partition and see what's going on. Oh, all of a sudden we got a folder in there and it's got a bunch of stuff. So good, we can now boot up and all that good stuff. But what I want you to do is open this one called Clover, okay? And now what I want you to do is go to the tools I provided, and we don't need MultiBeast anymore. And I want you to click Final Clover. And what's going on right now is we're actually going to bypass EasyKext, and basically just put our kext in the folder. So open the Final Clover, and what I want you to do is now remember, I'll backtrack so you can see we're in the EFI partition. You click EFI, you click Clover, and then you're in the Final Clover folder. And I'll go ahead and arrange this so you can see everything. And I'm going to highlight everything. It's a little buggy right now because of the resolution. Alright, I'm highlighting everything. I'm going to drag it into the Clover folder. So Final Clover drags into regular Clover. And then we're going to apply all and replace all. And then I'm going to arrange that name, and then we're good to go. Okay. Okay, so now with the Final Clover folder in there, what I'm going to do is, still with the EFI partition open, and then my Final Clover is in there, I'm going to open MultiBeast again, and I'm going to run it again with the same exact settings. So EFI boot mode, drivers, the audio, same thing. And the reason why is we want to make sure that it keeps our system definitions. So we're going to run it one more time. System definitions, iMac. Because when we drug the Final Clover in there, it's a brand new config file. So it's going to change things. So we just want to put it back to what we built. So again, this will be important, say if you wanted yours to be a Mac Pro or something like that. But anyway, I'm going to run it one more time. Okay, so we're good. Let's go ahead and close out of that. Now we're going to open this, and we're going to, remember your EFI partition, everything's open, all that good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and install the web drivers. Continue, continue, agree, install, and we're going to install these. Now, after this, continue. After these Nvidia web drivers install, we'll be good to go. Your Mac's going to be rocking and rolling, fast, snappy, nice, pretty resolution from your graphics card, all that good stuff. So we won't have to deal with NV_disable=1, a crappy resolution. We'll be good to go with everything. Now, if you go to your system's preferences, and you go to NVIDIA Device Manager, you can see that it's ready to go to boot up to use the NVIDIA web drivers. Now we just got to make sure the Clover is set to use them, and so we're going to actually check the check mark that says use NVIDIA web drivers, and instead of checking that every time, I'm going to show you how to get your system set up to where you just boot and you're good to go. So we're going to get those settings up next. Okay, since we're on this this boot right now, what I'm going to do is hold delete and make sure that my BIOS is booting up from that. And see, when you want to, basically my boot option 1 is going to the SSD, my boot option 2 is going to the UEFI OS. We actually want that the opposite. I want UEFI OS to be the first one, and so that's good to go now. That way it's just the first priority. That's what we wanted to do. And I'm going to save and exit. Before we get all crazy, we're going to go to options. We're going to go ahead and wipe all this out right here. Nvidia underscore disable ones -v, all this stuff we're going to get out of there. We're going to go into the graphic injector menu, and we're going to say use the Nvidia web drivers. Check that, return, and then we're going to boot up from the internal HFS. And just like that, we're rocking and rolling with a 1440p resolution. Well, I am, because that's what monitor I have. But we now have an official working Hackintosh. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And look at that, nice and pretty. See how it's not jumping around, everything's smooth. Okay, we're going to here, everything looks good. Alright, so we got ourselves a working Hackintosh. So if your kexts aren't good to go, so I'm going to go with the EasyKext utility app. I'm going to drag it to my applications folder. Okay, it's right here. Here's my password. And in order to install Kext, it just says drag files on window to process them. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to Clover Configurator. And remember, whenever you're messing with anything to update your Hackintosh, you always want to have your EFI partition mounted. So I'm going to mount my EFI partition. Okay, there it is. So it's mounted. Once you're able to see it on the left here, it's mounted. Okay, so I got my Kext here in the final Clover folder, 10.12. Okay, I'm going to take all of these. I'm going to drag them in there. Type in my password. And this is only if you have different Kexts or your Kexts aren't working. Okay, so it says we're good to go. Let's go ahead and reboot. Okay, now that we have our web drivers installed, our Kexts are installed and activated, they should just be installed and activated if you go ahead and drag that final Clover folder in that in the Clover after you run MultiBeast. But if you had any different Kexts than me, or you maybe had some trouble, I showed you how to do that with XBeast or EasyKext. And so that's done. So there's a couple more pieces to the puzzle. First, what we're going to do is every time we boot up, we don't want to go in and start checking using NVIDIA web drivers and then deleting the boot arguments. So what I want you to do is to download Xcode. Okay, it's in the App Store. It's free. So go ahead and download that. I already have. And remember, anytime you're messing with your Hackintosh, go ahead and open Clover Configurator. Click Mount EFI Partition. You're going to type in your password. And then you can hit Open Partition. And I only have, now remember, if you have your USB still in, you might open the wrong partition. So it's always a good idea to take it out so you're working with the correct EFI partition. So this is the correct EFI partition. It's open. That's all we need it to be. So it's right here on the left. So now we're going to open Xcode. So Xcode. I'm going to hit File, Open. I'm going to go to EFI partition. Okay, I'm going to go to EFI, Clover, and then config file. This .plist. This is your config file. This is very important. This has all your settings and all that stuff. So if you mess this up, it could screw up your whole system. So you might want to drag it somewhere, holding the Option button. That will copy it somewhere. That way you have it and stuff like that on a USB or something. It's up to you. But so I'm going to open that. All right, so I have a Tony Mac site up, a new way to enable the NVIDIA web drivers. I have a video on this if you want to watch it, but really this is what your system parameter needs to look like. So right here, what I want you to do is highlight just NVIDIA web, and I'm going to hit copy. Oh, come on. All right. So first I want you to go into boot, and then this whole boot argument right here, we're just going to take it out. everything out. We no longer need Nvidia or NV_disable equals 1 or any of that stuff because we're using the web drivers right now. Okay, so hit enter, and so there's no boot arguments. Now what I want you to do is go down to system parameters. Okay, you can see it injects kext. It's set to detect, so our 10.12 kext are getting injected every time it boots up. And then what I want you to do is over the system parameters is click the plus sign. We're going to add something new. Come on. Alright, now we're going to paste that Nvidia web in there. So Nvidia web. We're going to change it to Boolean. And then we're going to change that to yes. And that's it. So now it's telling us, hey, or it's telling the system, hey, we have Nvidia web drivers installed, so go ahead and use those. And that's it. So I'm going to hit File, this is very important, and then Save, and then X that out. Okay. So we're done. So now we're going to go ahead and reboot so you can see the fact that we don't have to keep putting that stuff in. Okay, if we go to the options menu on the Clover boot options and we go down to boot arguments, we see there's no more boot arguments in there. It's because we've taken them out if you've been following this video. And if you go to the graphics injector menu, you can see down here it says use Nvidia web drivers. It's already checked. So we no longer have to keep messing with stuff every time we boot up. It's all set to go. You just boot up. So you just boot up to the internal _HFS. And it boots straight up. Your system's good to go, and everything's working smooth. Just like that. Okay, and that's it. So we have a 100% working Mac on macOS Sierra, as you can see, 10.12, and we're all good to go. So if you've liked this video, if it's helped you, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. And just real quick, the last thing you might need to do is the FaceTime iMessage fixed. You will not have iMessage or FaceTime if you follow this video, but I have done a video for FaceTime and iMessage, so I'll go ahead and provide that link and follow that video, and then you will officially have a 100% working Mac. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks again for watching Craig's Tech, and I will check y'all later in the next video.